else bothered by the fact that almost every happy hour is more than an hour? Like that? No, it just irritates the fuck out of me. Call it happy hours. That you fixed the problem, you added an S. I am gonna die. Just in case, everybody videotape, because I'm gonna fall over at some point. I'm either gonna fall over or I'm just gonna fidget like this for an hour. I have not had a wired mic in a decade. I'm not even sure what to do with a wired mic. Every bit of me wants to unplug the charging cable on the bottom of this thing. And it's not gonna work. Shit, my God. I can't stand still. I'm the entire time I talk. I just can't do it. Good morning. Welcome to Hackers in Jurassic Park. I'm Kevin. I'm not really excited about being Kevin. I've been Kevin for 51 years because I'm old. I'm going to give you a couple qualifiers before I start this talk. One, I am full of tangents. I really am. I'm full of lots of things. My eyes are brown, but I'm full of tangents. Throughout the entire talk, I will be bringing up random stuff. I will do my damnedest to make the random stuff relevant to what I'm talking about, but I promise you that sometimes it will be a stretch. You'll be like, you just fucking thought of that, didn't you? And the answer is yes. It's a weird place in my head, and I have no filter between my brain and my mouth. And so I say things that maybe I shouldn't. I'll give you an example of this. Just so you're warned, right? Like I try to give you guys the heads up so you have time to run to the better talk next door. So I'm at TSA, thousands standing around. And about like LA, I think it was. Yeah, it was LA. And the TSA dude says he finds my lockpicks. And he like gets really serious. You know how they fucking do, right? And he's like, you know these are illegal here, which is not true, by the way. And I heard a voice that sounded a lot like me say, you know you're not a cop. Because they're not. TSA has to call 911 to arrest somebody. Normally a TSA agent getting arrested, but that's a different story. So the guy gets really like I had like punched him or peed on his shoes. One or the other. They're equal, right? And he says to me, don't let me see these again. And that voice that sounded a lot like me, I heard again. And the voice said, did you just tell me to hide them better? Because that seems like the wrong thing for TSA to tell people. That bomb you got that we found, could you hide it better? Which, by the way, they never find bombs. The test bombs that they put through have actually made it onto planes and to people's houses. Do you know how embarrassing that had to be for TSA to call somebody and say, hey, you have our fake bomb, could you bring it back? Like, who got that short straw? Right? Like, fuck. So I also curse. And another warning, just a small one. Sorry, I'm buffering. During this hour, I'm going to tell stories, right? In the company at Secure Ideas, we joke and we refer to most of my talks as story time with Kevin, right? Because I'm going to tell stories. I'm going to, hey, when we hacked this shit, when we did that, whatever. Now, what we do, just in case you didn't know, like if this is the first time you've ever suffered through one of my talks, what I do is we are penetration testers, which makes the 12-year-old in us laugh, but we're professional hackers, right? We go in, we break in, we steal shit, we tell you your baby is ugly, and then we go home. And let's be honest, all babies are ugly. They don't have kneecaps, their head isn't fully formed, they're kind of squishy humans. We lie to new parents. And yes, I have kids. They've heard me say this. But it takes about 6 months for them to look like a real human, right? So when their baby's born, they're like, oh, isn't it beautiful? We're like, fuck yeah. What did you do to that one? Right? You know this is true. But here's the qualifier that I was getting at, not the tangent about ugly babies. But what I want you to add to every story, because I forget to do it, is add the words with permission. Because this is actually a really important thing to do. And we actually see this quite often, especially at conferences like this, where people think the hacker ethos is awesome, which, by the way, it fucking is. But we don't just break into shit, right? We have to have permission. We have to work with the system and everything else like that. So please do me a favor. So when I tell the story, if I tell the story about us stealing $25 million from that bank, add with permission at the end of stole $25 million from the bank with permission. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Don't make me say it because I always fucking forget. We're going to talk about random shit. And I actually think, for me, this is, well, I'm biased, but I think this is an important talk. I think this is an important thing for us as an industry to talk about because we as an industry are doing a disservice to ourselves. We are often undermining what we are trying to do. Right? And we do it all the time, right? How many people here have heard users suck, right? Those fucking users always clicking the links. You know, we're users, right? Like, we are the people doing it. Do you know how many times my company gets hired, my people go in, they break in, and they get to the secret sauce, the treasure, the goal of the test, because the security person did something bad? Do you know how many times we're doing phishing attacks? And the way we do phishing attacks, okay? We'll set up the emails. It's kind of cool. We got some really cool domains that we use, whatever, right? We got these ruses that are awesome. I'm biased. I like us, right? And so what we'll do is we'll go to the client. We'll say, hey, client, here is the ruse we're going to do. Is this okay? And what we want to do is we want to make sure that they know what the attack is, that they know how it looks, and we want to make sure that we're not doing something that causes problems for them. Right? Like one of our most successful ruses is open enrollment, right? We'll send out open enrollment emails. It's time for your insurance, right? And click this link, and everybody clicks that link. The other one we do all the time, this one is really, really effective. It's time for your security awareness training. Right? And let's be clear, we're not lying. This is security awareness training. By the way, if you want to save money and not buy from a company like KnowBe4 or some bullshit like that, here's how you do security awareness training. Build a web server, put a web page on it that has one sentence. I'll tell you the sentence in a second. Then send a link to that web server to every employee at your company. When they click the link, it'll go to that web page that has that one sentence, and the one sentence is, you shouldn't have clicked that! Right? Make it blink or something. Right? By the way, that qualifies in every compliance requirement I've ever seen for awareness training. See, you've already fucking saved money, and it's not even 10 minutes into the talk. Okay, shit, it is 10 minutes into the talk, but I should look at that watch more often. It's a brand new one. I like this one. It was a gift. It's beautiful. I'm very happy with it. Again, tangents. So we're going to talk about Jurassic Park. So who am I? I'm Kevin. Like I said, whatever. I am a CEO of Secure Ideas, whatever. We're a security consulting firm. There's your sales pitch. If you need a pen test, hire us, something like that. If you don't want to hire us, we've got a list of the 7 companies we recommend on our website, because we're those people, right? We'd rather you get a good pen test than like cheat you. So whatever. I'm also an IANS faculty. I was elected to the global board of OWASP. I'm weird, but you probably already noticed that. If you didn't notice, you're asleep, which is okay. This is a nice, cool room that seems like it'd be good to nap in. I mean, it's not the hallway between A and B in the Atlanta airport, which is my favorite airport hallway. If you've ever been to the Atlanta airport, like between A and B, it's got the tree thing and the sound effects. I've slept in that hallway. I realized that I traveled too much when I was traveling with my daughters and actually said to them, this is my favorite hallway in an airport. And I realized at that moment, if you have a favorite hallway in an airport, 1, you're weird. 2, you travel way too fucking much. So, this is me. What we're going to talk about today, I really am going to die. This is, I'm sorry, this is completely distracting me. I can't handle this. What are you do? No, that's not going to help. Now I'm trapped. Oh my God, no. Thank you for trying. So, never mind. Okay, that was good. The defender's dilemma is what I want to talk about. How many people here have said this? right? The defender has to get it right 100% of the time. The attacker only has to get it right once. It sounds cool, doesn't it? It's like Hollywood or some bullshit. This is like, yeah. As an attacker, I fucking love this. Because I can suck all week. Domain admin. Right? Like, whatever. And I'm cool. I was never cool. I'm still not cool. Right? I was bullied in high school. I'm still bullied. We always joke at the office that I should be called Rodney because I get no respect. But I'm also old, so I got that reference. So did you. So, fuck. This is wrong. Because let's be blunt. If the defender has to get it right 100% of the time, how are they going to succeed? Who does something correct 100% of the time? I can't even fucking walk correctly 100% of the time. Right? We undermine what we're trying to do. We also are wrong about the attacker's side. I don't have to get it right once. Do you know why I don't have to get it right just once? It's because my job is not to hack you. It's not. Yes, that is what penetration testing is, but the goal of a pen test is not to be hacked. The goal of a penetration test, if done correctly, not using some automated fucking AI, ML tool, whatever, and pretend it's a pen test, but if a pen test is done correctly, what you have found is an understanding of all of the places, or many of the places, that you are doing stuff not as good as you could, so that you can actually prioritize your efforts. Because again, you're not going to get it right 100% of the time. It's kind of like, do you guys remember the club for cars? Right, it was a stick, right? It locked onto the car. I'm old, right? It was an infomercial thing. This is going to save your car from being stolen. Do you know how long it took to take a club off of a steering wheel? 45 seconds, right? All you did was you took this knife, it was a tile knife, so it had a curve. You put it behind the steering wheel and you pulled it through, that sliced through the steering wheel, and then you pulled the club off. Took 45 seconds. Yes, I just told you how to steal a car from 1980. I'm sorry? Any Kia. That's different. That doesn't require a tile knife. Jeez. We're fucked up. And, the idea behind the club was to slow the attacker down to make them go somewhere else. Our job as defenders is not to get things right 100% of the time. The job of ourselves as defenders is to get it right during the correct times. Right? It doesn't matter. How many people say, I think, was it Capital One or Chase that put out that thing that their security team fights off 87 billion attacks an hour? Right? They meant Nmap. I'm serious. They're scanning our ports, those fucking Russian hackers. APT, APT, APT! I always love it when people get breached, right? It was an advanced threat. Joe clicked the link. But it was a really complex URL. I didn't know what to do. I clicked it with my right hand instead of my left hand. I guess I should say that the other way for most people. I'm left-handed. But yeah, I haven't fallen off the stage yet. The watch. Yeah. He pays attention. You know what's funny is my twin brother is right-handed. We're mirror twins. Yeah, you all learn shit. But you only see him? No, I never see him. And we've said this for years, and here's the problem with this. This is why I hate this, is I go into organizations when I'm consulting with people, when I'm going in to do a pen test, is I'm working with them, because we don't just go in, hack them, and leave, even though I'd like to, because I'm lazy, and I really don't like talking to people. People suck. They really do. I know I'm a people. This is wrong, because we're telling them they have no chance of getting it right. Let's go back to that security person that I was talking about. So I send them the ruse, right? I show them the attack. I get their approval to send that attack. I then send the attack. When I send the attack, I copy my contact. Why? So they can see that it went out, right? Do you know that about 60% of the time, our contact who approved the ruse clicks the link and gives us their credentials? I will admit that the first time it happened, we're talking years ago, because again, I'm old. When I was at InGuardians, I did this step, I did this, I sent it out, the contact clicked the link, they gave us their credentials, and I ignored it. Because I thought, well, that's fucking cool, they tested it. And I waited. They had clicked it within like 2 minutes of us sending the ruse. They had enterprise admin rights on their account. Yeah. I didn't get it, because I didn't test that. 10 minutes later, another enterprise admin clicked, so it was okay. During the debrief, I just kind of casually said to the contact, by the way, dude, you didn't have, I say dude way too often for somebody who doesn't go outside and surf, but I go, dude, you didn't have to test that link. And the guy said, test what link? And I thought to myself, fuck. Because do you know how shitty it is to say to the person that just signed the contract to pay you tens of thousands of dollars that they fucked up and they're going in the report they paid for? Right? Like, God. It's bad. So this is a problem. We got to actually not do this. We have to talk about focusing on the right things, right? So let's talk about some of the right things. One of the first ones, God, misuse of tooling. We are tools. Take that however you want. We buy tools. We use tools, right? We're assholes. Whatever. But what I find time and time again is that vendors, right? They want to sell you something. Don't buy check marks. But you agree. They will sell you something. And I'm not saying the vendors out here suck. I don't know all the vendors out there. I've not looked at their tools, things like that. I haven't seen what they're offering. I'm sure some of them are worthwhile, right? I'm a vendor, right? We will sell you something. When you're ready, come talk to Brittany, right? She'll get an SOW out to you. Everything will be great. But the reality is that people buy more than they need. They buy things because it tells them it'll do something that they think it will do, and then they don't use it. I used to work for a company that will remain nameless, Blue Cross of Florida, and we would buy everything. Like, we literally bought so many tools that vendors would come in to show us their new tool, and they would have us, this happened multiple times. This was not like a one-off. They would show us their slide deck, and when they would get to the slide that said customers who have purchased our product, we would already be listed. And I realized it was because they knew we were going to sign that contract and buy the tool and then never use it, never deploy it. Or we would deploy it and not really understand what it does. How many people here have ever deployed Thycotic systems? I know it's not Thycotic anymore, but I can't remember who bought them, right? Remember Secret Server? Dumbest tool name ever. It's the secret server. Where is it? Can't tell you. It's a secret. It's almost as bad as good technology. That MDM vendor, right? Like, you couldn't be better. But just saying, some weird shit pops into my head. So we see people, they deploy these things, right? And they put them out there and they don't know how to use them. And I'll give you an example. I was working with this customer, and this is a weird customer. They were kind of cool. They'd bring us out multiple times a year to do stuff. And one of the first times we went out, they brought us out, and they wanted us to do an internal test, right? And they wanted to see how well their SOC could detect us. And they gave us a laptop. And so we're sitting there, and to set the scene, there's a big open floor space, which is the best office space in the fucking world, right? Woohoo! I didn't die. Fuck, I know. Wonder how much this is, because I'm gonna break it. So, big open space. We're in a conference room in this corner, and it's a glass-walled conference room. Diagonally across There's all these tables, desks in rows. There's developers writing code facing each other. And diagonally across is the SOC. And it's two dudes in a corner with monitors up. And so we get there Monday morning, and we're sitting in the glass conference room doing the kickoff, and we're meeting with everybody. And our contact, what I need is somebody to just follow me around and hold it. No, don't, I was kidding. Joke. Damn. He just wants to be on stage. But should have submitted a talk. And so we're sitting there, right? And they give us a laptop, and I take the laptop, and I set it down, I plug it in, right? And I notice out of the corner of my eye, because you may not believe this, but I distract easily. I know, because I've been so on target this entire fucking time. But all of a sudden I notice, like cross diagonally around, that one of the SOC dudes, what do you call it? SOC dudes? It's probably not right. But one of the SOC dudes, you see him go like this. And I'm not kidding. This is not an exaggeration. This motherfucker stands up and runs diagonally across the building to the conference room. He's fucking leaping desks, okay? He knocked over at least 2 developers and 6 monitors. I'm not exaggerating. This motherfucker's like running, and he comes in, and he takes the door, and he slams it open. It's this glass sliding barn door thing, and he slams it open, and he's like, I got you! It's fucking early. I've had like 1 cup of coffee. And I'm like, right here. Like, the fuck are you talking about? You're hacking my semantic server. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. I detected it. I saw it. I know it's you. I'll bite. Look, dude, I'm sitting here. Look, I'm good. I can hack some cool shit. But I'm not so good, I can do it without touching a keyboard or mouse. I just go into the office and I go, domain admin, domain admin, domain admin, domain admin, and then I get it. It's weird. I should fucking try it for other things. $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. And I'm like, dude, we're not doing anything. I said, look, I don't mean to be rude, because I don't believe you're actually being hacked. But if you're being hacked right now, we need to fucking stop and move into IR mode. Right? Like, seriously, if you've seen an attack against your semantic server, it's not us. It's that laptop right there. Dude, I've not done anything with it. So if it is, then that laptop's compromised. It's got malware on it, somebody's on it, whatever, which I doubt, because we instructed you guys to do a fresh build and hand it to us with nothing else on it. So again, I don't think you're really compromised. I think there's a mistake, but if you are, fuck, man, you suck. We're going to have a problem. What it turned out to be, after we calmed down Surfer Sock Dude, he was just waiting for 420, but what it turned out to be was, when we plugged in the laptop, it booted up, and the semantic endpoint reached out to the management server and said, hey, could I get my configuration and the latest rule set? And this guy, his team, 2 dudes, had set up a rule for the laptop's host name to alert on any traffic that was there. So 1, I now have a finding that he's an idiot, which, by the way, was said way more professionally in the report. But this, yeah, we didn't say fucking idiot. Wanted to. I wanted to do that thing. Do you remember when you were like in elementary school and you made a Mother's Day card and it was a poem and you spelled out mother on the first line? You remember that? I wanted to write out fucking idiot on the first line of every... My business partner told me I shouldn't. So rude. But that's a problem, right? This is a misuse of what they're doing. They've got the tooling to do stuff, but here's part of the problem. They were told they have to get it right 100% of the time. So their solution to getting it right 100% of the time was to get the host name of the machine they were handing me and building a rule. It's not all seriousness. This is not this guy was stupid. We can laugh at him. We can say, fuck, man. The reality was he was ignorant. He didn't know what he didn't know. And we didn't help him. And we put him in an unwinnable situation. We convinced him that he had to get it right 100% of the time. right? And what happened was, now, not only is he not getting it right at the right time, he's getting it right at the wrong time. Well, he's getting it wrong at the wrong time, whatever, you know what I mean. So now the limited resources they have are being wasted, right? And this guy, we actually worked with them. This guy actually became a pretty decent SOC analyst, right? Which I was impressed by because I did not have high expectations. And that was where it went, right? And that's because we had to show them what was going on, which brings us to the second problem, and that is not understanding, right? Ignorance. Unlike what people think on Facebook, being ignorant is not an insult. We are all ignorant of something. Ignorant just means we don't know, right? Do you know how much stuff I don't know? You've heard me talk. You know it's a lot. There are huge swaths of information in our field that I don't know. I've been working professionally in IT since 1991. Like I said, I'm old. I barely graduated high school. I got a job writing code to help control the power grid. That should scare the fuck out of you. Because in 2023, we hacked a power company and found my code running part of the power grid. Let's be clear, at 51, I'm not that good a programmer. At 18, I was worse. Fuck. We don't know things. When I decided I wanted to get into security, I literally wrote a list. I wrote a list of the 10 things I needed to learn. It was 10 things. Last time I said that to somebody, they said to me, what were the 10? I don't fucking remember. It was a while ago. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Bagel cream cheese. I actually do remember what I had for breakfast. That doesn't matter. But I came up with a list of 10 things. And when I learned one of them, because that's what I did. I sat down, I said, fuck it, I need to learn this. And I learned one of them. When I learned that one thing, I had a list of 37 things that I needed to learn, right? And I learned one of them. And I had a list of 78 things that I needed to learn. And then I learned another one of them. I currently have a list of 87,486,000,000, no, not really. But like, every time I learn something, I find something else I didn't even know existed. A group of us were sitting at, we were sitting in the rain. No, we were sitting in the rain, whatever. Last night, we were all talking. And I have a good friend. We won't call him because he'll embarrass himself, Giovanni. And he was sitting there. You know, I don't do that don't tell people things very well. So Giovanni was sitting there with us, and we were talking. And we were talking about things people teach you. And what was said, Brittany actually said it, is that every single time I talk to Giovanni, I learn something new. Something I didn't know, something I didn't even know existed because he teaches me stuff, right? I get knowledge every time I talk to him. This is common across the board. Every single person you deal with teaches you something. Sometimes it teaches you don't fucking talk to that person. Which is something you learned, right? But what we need is we have to have a true understanding of what's going on. And I'll give you another example. We have this customer. They have this web application that is their primary business. And I'm not going to say who it is because I am actually good at not saying who customers are. All the joking aside, that's it. I'm not good at walking. Damn. Bad. So we have this customer. Their primary business is this web application. They've been building it for 20 years, something like that, ridiculous. Right, they have an architecture team. And the architecture team built an anti-SQL injection library, right? Which, let's talk about the fact that it wasn't parameterized queries, right? Which is the way to solve SQL injection, which obviously people don't remember because we have SQL injection in 2024 in security products. What the fuck is wrong with you people, right? SQL injection, by the way, the solution to SQL injection is parameterized queries. It is the only solution that I'm aware of for a security hole that makes the system perform better. Seriously. Dynamic SQL queries perform worse than parameterized queries. It is the only solution that improves performance, yet we don't fucking use it, right? We're finding SQL injection this year. What company was that? It wasn't Palo Alto. They've had their own problems. Fuck. It's okay. They don't do anything important or critical to security. I mean, a YouTuber told me about a VPN, I think is what they said. I don't know, whatever. But, right? So they weren't using parameterized queries. What they did is they built this library, and the only thing the library did was it looked for single quotes in the input. Yes. And it blocked them. That's what it did. The best part was we actually were looking at the source code. This application used double quotes in every one of their dynamic queries. So the SQL quote wouldn't, the single quote, not the SQL quote, that's a new thing, a SQL quote. They actually spell the SQL in a quote sign. It's weird. It's like word art. But, clippy. But their blocking of single quotes actually accomplished nothing because the dynamic queries did double quotes. Like, what the hell, right? That was the architecture team. And again, I'm not going to say, oh, fucking idiots, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll call you a fucking idiot if you're a fucking idiot. I do it all the time. I'm not a nice person, right? That's why I had to start my own company. That way my boss has to put up with me. The other one we see all the time is, how many people here work for an organization that does regular automated scanning of their organization, and they have a timeline to fix highs and criticals? Right? Yeah, of course. If you didn't raise your hand, you're either lying or unemployed. Most organizations, oh, we got to fix those highs and criticals. Do you know how many times we get into organizations using a high risk or critical risk finding found by an automated scanner? Seriously, guess. Guess a percentage of the time. I heard 5%, I heard 95%. No, it's probably closer to 0. Seriously. And the reason it's closer to 0 is 1, automated tools suck. 2, automated tools are great for knowing whether you're compliant, right? Finding if your patch management is working. Yes, there are times we find a critical or high and go, yes, got it, right? But if we're using the results of an automated tool, almost always our consultants are focused on lows and informationals. Because lows and informationals, when chained together, cause a critical hole. And they're easier to exploit because people aren't looking for them. People aren't testing for them. People aren't fixing them. John Strand and I, years ago, did an entire series of classes where all we did was walk through exploitation using informational findings from Nessus. Right? You would scan with Nessus, grab an informational, and get domain admin. Scan with Nessus, grab an informational, and steal credit card data. Right? It's that simple. So if you're focusing on criticals and highs, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is not a good idea. Now I don't know what to do. I'll do this. That. I've always wanted to try to do that thing where you run and jump and you, right? And I've done it 3 times. Please note I did not say successfully. But random tangents. This is why you should not put me up here. But that's what we attack. We go after the lows and informational. And the criticals and highs, you should fix them. Don't get me wrong. If you're still running Windows 7, stop. By the way, I reviewed a report Thursday morning where we found Windows 7 running an organization. It's 2024, right? This is bad. Try to get understanding of what you're doing. There's another side to this one, the understanding one. I'll give you another story that's not up on the slide. We worked with this organization. They were they make movies. Movie studio. God, that was the phrase I could not think of. Words. But we're working with this movie, sorry, my internet's down. Movie studio. And we're doing security awareness training, like live security awareness training. They're bringing us out. We're sitting in this auditorium. They're bringing teams in, and we're talking about security because it was like, let's have a hacker come in and talk to you, which is kind of fun, right? Like, hey, yeah, when I was doing. So we're like, okay. And one of the first questions I always ask people is, like, what is the thing you're most afraid of? And I don't mean sharks. I mean, like, if we talk about cybersecurity, what is the crown jewels for your team? What is the thing that you're worried about the most? And you get interesting answers. And we had this one team. They were a big team at the studio. And I said, what's the thing you're most worried about? And I got the normal answers. Credit card data. Whatever. Get a new one. Right? Social security numbers. Yeah, whatever. Your social security number's been compromised. Right? I have a list of every social security number ever issued. It's the numbers 0000000 through 999, right? Like I've got your social security number on the list, I guarantee it. But I also have every 4-digit PIN. The best part is, you ever say that to a CISO and they freak out? They should not be the CISO. But Joe Sullivan. But oh, did I say that out loud? Shit. But everybody's talking about this stuff, and this one woman in this room, she said, celebrity cell phone numbers. And I don't know why. You know how like that one voice you catch, right? I'm like, huh. And everybody stopped, and they started arguing with her. Not me. They did, right? Like, what? Celebrity cell phone? That's stupid. That's not our biggest risk. Blah, blah, blah. And she fucking doubled down. No, you're wrong. It is. That's our biggest risk. For our team, our biggest risk is celebrity cell phone numbers. And I didn't even get a chance to get a word in edgewise. People are like berating her. It's like, don't you, celebrities have money, they can get a new cell phone, blah, blah. And she's like, no. And I'm like, whoa, calm down. Wait, let me ask. So I looked at the lady. I'm like, ma'am, I don't know. I'm not a movie studio, right? Why are celebrity cell phone numbers your biggest worry? Why is that your biggest risk? And she said, oh, it's easy. Which you know she said to piss on everybody else. She's like, celebrity cell phone numbers are our biggest risk because we handle the contract with the celebrity and their contact information. And one of the things that we have is we have to have a direct number to the celebrity because something happens, we gotta get, like we can't have it to an assistant, we can't have it, and I don't know if she's right. I'm repeating here, okay? And so she's like, yeah, we have to have this direct number. And here's the problem. There are so many people who wanna reach out to the celebrity, they want stalkers and this and that the celebrity doesn't wanna give out their personal number, their real number, right? That's why they have an assistant, that's why they have all this kind of stuff. And so we have in our contract a guaranteed seven-figure settlement. Six-figure, I'm sorry. No, seven-figure settlement. More than $1 million. 7, right? Yeah, okay. God, numbers. We guarantee that if the cell phone number is revealed by us to anybody, we won't argue it, we won't fight it, we'll write them a check. So for my team, our biggest risk is cell phone numbers. There was silence in the room. These are the people, they all do the same thing this woman does. They work with this contract day in and day out, and they had never thought about that. They had never actually sat down and said, what should I be worried about, right? Which goes back to the shark thing. I was in Denver, and I asked the audience, how many people are afraid of sharks? And like three-quarters of the audience are like, sharks, fuck those things, they'll kill you. And I'm like, no. I don't mean like, oh man, sharks are scary. I mean actively afraid of a shark. How many of you? And like half the room kept their hand up. And I pointed out that in Denver, there is almost 0% chance you're going to be attacked by a shark. In my mind, the only way you're going to get attacked by a shark is if they're transporting one from an aquarium to another aquarium and you ram the fucking truck. Which I want to be the cop responding to that accident. Shark bites on the 85. Right? Like, what the hell? I don't even know if 85 is a highway out there, but let's go with it. It's probably not. It's a number, right? Now, I will point out, because I try to be as open with my fuck-ups as I am with everybody else's fuck-ups, right? I got an email from one of the attendees, and they're like, Kevin, you're wrong. There is actually a more than 0% chance that you can be bitten by sharks in Denver because we have an aquarium that you can pay money to swim with the sharks. And I'm like, fuck, okay, you're right, sharks will get you in Denver. But only if you pay. You know what you should be afraid of? Soda machines. Soda machines fall on and kill more people a year than get bitten by sharks. Notice I did not say then get killed by sharks. Right? Cows kill more people than sharks. Fucking Bessie. That's bad. This is understanding, right? Next thing we find, missing infrastructure. It's a good thing speaking isn't part of my job. We work with organizations all the time. And there's two things we find that we mean by missing, right? Either it's missing as it's just not there, or it's missing that they don't know they have it, right? Which that one's sad, right? Oh, I didn't know we could do that, right? How many people here work for an organization that has more than enough budget and manpower working on security? Yeah, I didn't think so. Nobody ever says, yeah, I got enough, right? We don't have enough. Look, I'm a 26-person company that's entire job is focused on security, and I will tell you, we don't have enough budget to do what we want to do with security, right? And I own the place. We don't have enough manpower. We don't have enough smart people doing it. We don't have enough dumb people doing it, right? Whatever you want to say with your team, right? We don't have enough. And so very often, we don't buy and deploy the things that we need. Do you know how many times we work with organizations and we say to them, and this one pisses me off. God, it pisses me off so bad, which is better than being pissed on, but still bad, is the number of times we'll say to an organization, why don't you have MFA enabled? You have this system that you pay for, right? It's cloud-based. Why don't you have MFA enabled? And the answer I get is, well, that requires an enterprise license, and it's too expensive. What? Let me be clear. If you're a SaaS system and you require the highest level of license to have multi-factor authentication on the accounts, fuck you. Dead serious. We as an industry need to go to offices of organizations that do that and set them on fire. And whoever made the decision that that should be a selling point that increases the prices should be trapped in the building when we set it on fire. Fuck you. And so we have organizations that don't have MFA. One of the fundamental ways to prevent, 300% of all attacks? I might be off on the math. And they don't have it enabled because it costs too much. The first time I heard that, I'll be honest, I thought the guy was lying. I'm like, no, Google gives it to me, right? But there's no way that costs more. And he showed me. I'm like, son of a bitch. And so they don't have it. How many times do you work with organizations? They don't have a web app firewall, or they don't have a SIEM or a SIEM or whatever the hell you pronounce the new acronym for log management. Fuck. Why do we have to keep coming up with new names? Marketing and to make us cool, right? Like we use acronyms because we were bullied in high school. Now the bullies have to ask us what the acronym is. The guy who bullied me in middle school asks me questions on a regular basis. It's fucking hilarious. I will admit that I have often given him wrong information. I feel guilty, but not a lot. Fuck you, Ryan. So, they don't have this stuff. I never know what's coming out of my mouth. I really don't. It worries Brittany. By the way, I keep calling her out. Brittany is our head of sales and marketing, but I want to tell you right now that I am so impressed by her because she is a trained penetration tester. She knows how to do what we do and then chose to be in sales. Don't ask, right? But we don't know what we need. The other problem we see, right, is not that they don't have the infrastructure, not that they don't have the software or the system, but they don't know it's available to them, right? The number of times that we're testing web applications or mobile apps or APIs, and we're like, hey, stupid example, right? But you're using struts, which has its own issues, but you don't have the protections that struts ships with by default enabled. And we'll hear from the team that's doing it, it's like, it does that? Like, yeah. I mean, it's not great, but it's a step above. Oh, you have a .NET app. How adorable. Did you turn on the protections .NET has? Again, they're not perfect, but go back to the defender's dilemma, right? I'm not trying to get perfect. I'm trying to get good enough. My goal, if I'm monitoring a network, which, by the way, I don't do professionally, that's not a service we offer, right? But if I'm monitoring a network, what I want to do is not block the attacker 100% of the time. I want to slow the attacker down enough that my team can react to what is going on, right? I want to cause enough problems for that attacker that I can then react. I can go in there and block stuff. I can go in there and handle what's going on. I can go in there and turn off the services. Whatever it is, my job is to slow them down enough, right, so that we can get them there. So if we have a platform that we're using, a framework that we're using, and that framework has protections that are 60% effective. I made up that number, right? Because you know 83.6% of all statistics are made up on the spot, including that one, right? But if we can slow down the attacks by 60% so that we have a chance of seeing that somebody is attacking that application, right? Which, again, depends on you actually looking, right? Because we've seen that all the time. Then we have a chance. So turn on those protections. And then the final thing we're talking about, if I can click the button, is how we scatter our defenses. And this is actually the main problem with that 100% effectiveness issue. If we tell people that they have to be 100% effective, they have to stop everything, then they will scatter themselves so much they'll accomplish nothing, right? I got to stop everything. I got to stop everything. Oh my God. This is where we get right? I'm the blue team. How many times have you been asked, if you're not blue teamer, if you're a red teamer, how many times have you been asked, hey, how do you keep track of all the exploits? I'll give you an answer right now. It's not a fun answer. I don't. I go ogle it. I do. I go ogle all the time. You might pronounce that differently. Not anymore, right? Come on, man. It's got image search. It's ogling. But if I run into a system, I don't try to memorize every one of the fucking attacks. I Google it. I have friends I call. Hey man, I found this machine, it's kind of cool. I seem to remember that you had a tool that would hit this pretty hard, or you knew a vulnerability. Could you remind me what that was? Right? And I have friends who do the same thing with me. Hey Kevin, do you know how, yeah man, I was just fucking around with one of those yesterday. I got a cool attack, here's a script, right? We help each other out. Red teamers share so fucking much, which is funny because I don't want to play with your toys. I want my own toys. Right? Blue teamers, they don't share very much. How many times have you ever been involved, if you're a blue teamer, or you've been talking to one, and they're talking about this, man, we got hit with shit today. What'd you get hit with? Can't tell you. Why not? NDAs. Worst fucking 3 letters in the world. Non-disclosure agreement. Don't fucking tell people! How are we going to defend against this shit if we can't help each other, right? Oh, we're sharing IOCs. How many people here have seen IOCs shared that are so fucking vague, they connect to a port? Which one? The right one. Does that mean it's got to be on that side of the rack? Damn it. I can't hack this machine. They've put all their servers upside down so the ports are on the left. Fuck. By the way, in case you walk out of here and say, Kevin thinks it's unhackable if he flips his servers, I made that up. I see that one going out there, right? Install all of your racks upside down. They're unhackable. We're Oracle. So, fuck them. Every once in a while, I will mention a company and get so angry I can't go on. That just happened. But, give you an example of focusing everywhere, right? Like, I gotta get everything. So what do? We focus on the DMZ. How many people know that something like 90% of breaches happen on the workstation first? Right? Why? Because your security team clicked something. Right? They clicked that thing. Or the other one that I loved was we were working with this OT network as a power company, and we're sitting there and we were doing a cooperative exercise working with them, and they were showing us stuff. And we're sitting in the conference room, and one of their staff connected to the Bastion host to then hop into the OT network to show us stuff, and the Bastion server crashed. I'm like, shit. How long will it take to get that back up and running? And the guy's like, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, you got a backup Bastion host? No. They actually hadn't segmented the OT network from anything else. Their teams all just agreed to use the Bastion host if it was running. But it had a bad driver in it that was causing it to blue screen a lot. But they didn't care because they would just connect directly to the OT devices, right? And I am literally, and I know you're not going to believe this, but I was speechless. I did not know what to say. Like, that's actually how I wrote it in the report. But what the fuck, man? Right? And that's what we see.